sewakwe. The topic of this capsule will be UNDRIP, or the United Nations Declaration on Indigenous Rights. Now, the UNDRIP was a human rights mechanism that was worked on for about 24 years by the United Nations, and finally being accepted by those countries that were colonized, and the indigenous people were left with basically nothing. Everything was taken from us, and the international body recognized these wrongs and wanted to make things right. It took some time. Canada did not want to sign it, the United States, but they finally did. Now, Canada said when it was implemented at the United Nations that they would also implement it in Canada without any qualifications. But the government, being the government, said as long as the United Nations Declaration is compatible with Canadian law. Well, that was a qualification right there. And my argument with that has always been Canadian law is what got us into this mess. And you want to make the declaration compatible to Canadian law? It should have been the other way around. Canadian law should have been compatible with its human rights obligations. But here we are. The federal government is about to table Bill 262, adopting the UN Declaration into Canadian law. Now, First Nations, some First Nations are concerned about that, saying that human rights are not Native rights or Aboriginal rights. They are different. Yes, they are. They have concerns that there was no formal repudiation of the doctrine of discovery. But the fact that Canada had adopted this human rights mechanism, which does repudiate the doctrine of discovery, Canada has in fact recognized the doctrine as being immoral. The Trudeau government even said years ago that they will not use the doctrine of discovery in any court case with First Nations people. So Canada has repudiated that. Now, we have other mechanisms like the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People of the Americas. That's another mechanism that it does go hand in hand with the UN. So I've been studying this file for many years, and I think there are opportunities for First Nations to at least start using these mechanisms in Canadian courts wherever they need. So it will support their efforts in asserting their rights. Treaty, human rights, it's all in the Declaration. So we need to make a step somewhere, make one step somewhere, and stop letting our fears and our distrust keep us, holding us back. Because we already have 5 or 6 provinces right now, including Quebec, that are dead set against the UNDRIP because of the free, prior, informed consent part of the declaration, saying that it amounts to a veto. It does not amount to a veto, but we do have the right to say yes, we have a right to say no, and we have a right to negotiate whenever projects come into our territories on fair and just compensation. So the UNDRIP will be tabled, it will be passed by the federal government soon, and the first steps, we'll see what they'll be. So I appreciate your attention on this topic. Now I'll go on.